Okay, so let's jump right into a medical mystery that, I gotta tell you, sounds completely backwards. We're gonna explore what happens when you do everything right. You get healthier, you feel amazing, but then you get a blood test that sends your doctor into a full-blown panic.
Seriously, just think about that for a second. What if losing weight and feeling more energetic than you have in years actually resulted in a lab number that basically screams, you're in big trouble? It's a total paradox, right? And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today, piece by piece. And look, this isn't just some made-up scenario. This is the actual story of Dr. Thanasak Yimkerd. He's a doctor who got really serious about his own health. He lost almost 20 kilos, which is incredible. His high blood pressure, gone. He felt younger, healthier, you name it. But then he got his lab work back. His so-called bad LDL cholesterol had shot up from a totally normal 120 to a shocking 250. And that led him to this absolutely terrifying question. I mean, can you imagine? Physically, he was on top of the world. But according to the standard lab report, he was squarely in the danger zone. It's a crazy conflict that really makes you question everything we've been taught about cholesterol.
So, to figure out what on earth is going on, we have to start with the basics. We've got to look at the conventional wisdom, the rule book that doctors have been following for decades.
For about half a century, it's been drilled into our heads. LDL is the bad cholesterol. If your LDL is high, it's clogging your arteries and giving you heart attacks. The goal is always, always to get that number down. It seems super simple, right? But as we're about to find out, the real story is so much more interesting than that.
Okay, let's dive into the fun stuff. To solve this paradox, we need to look under the hood and understand what happens inside your body when you totally change its fuel source, specifically when you go on a very low-carb diet.
It all follows a pretty logical chain of events. First, you stop eating a bunch of carbs. Your body quickly burns through its emergency sugar stash, which is called glycogen. Now it's got to find a new fuel, so what does it do? It flips a switch and starts burning fat for energy. But to make that happen, the liver has a super important job. It has to package up all this fat energy so it can get sent out through the bloodstream to all the cells that need it.
And those little delivery packages, they're called lipoproteins. Now, here is the single most important thing to get your head around, because it changes everything. LDL is not cholesterol. It's the truck that carries the cholesterol and fat. The analogy is perfect. Think of a fleet of delivery trucks on a highway. This is a massive misunderstanding, but it is the absolute key to solving this whole puzzle.
So think about it. If your body is running on fat, it needs a ton of energy deliveries. The liver starts by sending out these big trucks called VLDL, and they're loaded up with fatty cargo. As these VLDL trucks go around and make their deliveries to your muscles, they get smaller and lighter. And what's left over? A smaller, kind of empty truck. That empty truck is an LDL particle. So more demand for energy means more trucks on the road, which naturally means more empty LDL trucks are around after the deliveries are made. And this, my friends, brings us to the real heart of this entire explainer. Here's the kicker. Not all of these LDL trucks are the same. Not even close. They actually come in two very, very different forms.
Yeah, so on one side, you've got type A LDL. These are big, they're fluffy. Think of them like harmless cotton balls just floating through your bloodstream. This is the type we see in people who are metabolically healthy. But on the other side, you have type B LDL. These are small, dense, and hard. Think of them like little pebbles that can cause real damage if they get stuck. And here's the problem. Your standard LDL test doesn't tell you which kind you have.
So, what decides whether you've got the fluffy cotton balls or those dangerous little pebbles? Well, all the research points to something called metabolic syndrome. It's a whole cluster of conditions, and it's all driven by one root cause, insulin resistance. That's when your body just can't use insulin properly. And this, not just a single LDL number, is what really puts you in a high-risk category. So check this out. Here are the 5 official signs of metabolic syndrome: high blood pressure, high blood sugar, a large waistline, high triglycerides, and low good HDL cholesterol. Now look closely. Notice what's missing from that list? Yeah, a high LDL number is not even part of the official diagnosis for the main pattern of heart disease risk. Isn't that wild? All right, let's put it all together now.
With this new information, we can build a completely different way of looking at risk. And we can finally go back and make sense of Dr. Thanasak's baffling lab results. This table just lays it all out perfectly. Over on the right, you've got that dangerous pattern of insulin resistance, high triglycerides, low HDL, and that nasty, small, dense type B LDL. But look at the left. That's the pattern of a healthy person on a low-carb diet. You see how they are complete opposites on every important marker? And yet, both can have a high total LDL number. The context is everything. And let me show you another real-world case that's just mind-blowing. This patient went low-carb, got super healthy, and stuck with it for more than a year. What was their LDL cholesterol? Get this, a staggering 306. According to the old rulebook, that number is a 5-alarm fire. It's a code red DEFCON 1 imminent danger kind of number. So if the old rules are right, anyone walking around with an LDL over 300 for a year should have some serious plaque building up in their arteries. I mean, the damage should be obvious, right? But when they got the most definitive scan you can do to actually measure plaque, a coronary artery calcium score, the result was a perfect 0. Zilch. Nada. No detectable plaque at all. It's the ultimate proof that in the context of amazing metabolic health, a sky-high LDL number didn't mean a thing for their arteries. And this isn't just a theory, it's what doctors are seeing on the front lines. The observation from emergency rooms is that patients who are having heart attacks almost never show up with these crazy high LDL numbers. Just like the quote says, the real danger is in the pattern of insulin resistance, not one single number taken out of context. Which leaves us with this one last thought to chew on. For 50 years, we have painted LDL as the big bad villain in the story of heart disease. But what if it's not the villain at all? What if it's just a messenger trying to deliver a much, much bigger story about the overall health of our body's engine?